Hi, please, I need advice and help. Don't use my real name, but convey my message to the people, because I need their honest response to know if I did the right thing or not. The story goes like this. Agatha met Martins in 2020. She had a small provisions shop, and Martins was a regular customer before they started dating. 3 months into their relationship, they got married. During their dating period, Martins never gave Agatha money, but she didn't think much of it because her business was doing well at the time. A few months after their wedding, things started to go downhill. Agatha had to dip into her business funds to support their household needs because they barely had enough to eat. She advised Martins to sell one of his plots of land to start a business instead of staying idle at home. However, Martins refused. Agatha continued to provide for them until her resources were completely depleted. She later discovered that Martins had secretly sold the land back in 2021, but she never saw any of the money. He begged her to keep supporting them, and she reluctantly agreed. At the same time, Agatha was trying to conceive. She bore the financial burden of all the medical and traditional treatments, as Martins contributed nothing. Eventually, Martins started getting small jobs but always claimed they were low-paying. A friend of Agatha's mentioned that Martins had more money than he let on. When Agatha confronted him, he apologized and admitted he never spent money on her and didn't know why. Agatha continued to hope that things would improve. As their 4th wedding anniversary approached, Agatha found herself in severe debt and had to start selling her personal belongings to survive. She began to hear persistent messages that she needed to leave Martins, that they would never have children together, and that Martins's mother disapproved of their marriage. This was confusing because Martins's mother had always treated Agatha kindly. Agatha decided to move to Lagos to find work and discuss this with her sister. When she told Martins about her plan, he seemed indifferent, saying it was fine. However, one night, Martins woke her up, accusing her of planning to leave him. Agatha didn't realize Martins had been reading her messages, so she lied, saying she was just pranking her sister. The truth was that she did intend to leave, and Martins had started beating her during arguments, always blaming her for provoking him. A man named Tond, who got her number from one of her brothers, had been asking Agatha out. Although they connected quickly through chats, Agatha didn't love him. Her heart still belonged to Martins. Martins discovered these chats and became very angry. Agatha lied, saying she was only playing Tond for money, and Martins forgave her. With Martins constantly monitoring her and the messages urging her to leave without fighting, Agatha felt trapped. She had nothing left and was deeply worried about their childless situation. Agatha felt trapped and hopeless. Every day, the messages urging her to leave Martins echoed in her mind. She didn't know who to trust or what to do. She knew she needed to find a way to rebuild her life, but she was terrified of leaving without a plan. One evening, as Agatha was closing her shop, her sister Margaret called. Margaret had always been Agatha's confidant and support. They spoke in hushed tones, careful not to be overheard. "Sister, you have to leave," Margaret insisted. "This is not the life you deserve. You deserve to be happy and to have a chance at a family." Agatha sighed heavily. "I know, Margaret, but I don't even have the money to travel to Lagos now. I've sold everything. I feel so stuck." Margaret paused for a moment before responding. "I'll send you some money. It's not much, but it's enough to get you here. Once you're in Lagos, we can figure out the rest together." Agatha's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Margaret. I don't know what I would do without you." The next morning, Agatha woke up with a renewed sense of hope. She was determined to leave and start over. She began to discreetly pack a small bag with essentials. She hid it under her bed, ready for the moment she could escape. Days turned into weeks, and Agatha's anxiety grew. Martins's behavior became more unpredictable, and she feared he might discover her plan. One night, while Martins was out with friends, Agatha received a message from Tond. Agatha, are you okay? You seemed really stressed the last time we chatted. If you need anything, I'm here for you. Agatha hesitated but decided to reply. Thanks, Tond. I'm going through a lot, but I'm managing. How are you? Their conversation continued for a while, and Agatha felt a small sense of relief talking to someone who cared. She knew she didn't love Tond, but his kindness provided a much-needed distraction from her troubles. The following evening, Martins came home late and in a foul mood. Agatha tried to stay out of his way, but he cornered her in the kitchen. Why are you so quiet? He demanded. Are you planning something? Agatha's heart raced. No, Martins. I'm just tired. It's been a long day at the shop. Martins stared at her suspiciously but eventually retreated to the living room. Agatha let out a silent breath of relief. She knew she had to leave soon, but the right moment had to present itself. That night, Agatha lay awake, thinking about her future. She imagined a life where she could be free, where she could work hard and be appreciated. She dreamed of having children and building a loving home. As dawn approached, Agatha made a silent vow to herself. No matter what, she would find a way out. She would be brave and take the necessary steps to reclaim her life. The next day, Agatha received a text from Margaret. The money is ready. Come as soon as you can. I'll be waiting for you. Agatha felt a surge of determination. She knew that tonight had to be the night. She spent the day making final preparations, ensuring that Martins wouldn't suspect a thing. As the sun set, Agatha's heart pounded in her chest. She waited for Martins to fall asleep, her packed bag hidden under the bed. When she was sure he was asleep, she quietly slipped out of bed, grabbed her bag, and tiptoed to the door. Agatha stepped outside into the cool night air, her heart pounding with fear and excitement. She took a deep breath and began her journey towards a new beginning. Agatha's footsteps were light and careful as she walked away from the house. She looked back once, taking in the dark silhouette of the place she had called home for the past few years. Her heart ached with a mixture of sadness and relief. She made her way to the bus stop, clutching her small bag tightly. The streets were quiet, and the only sounds were the distant hum of traffic and the occasional bark of a dog. Agatha's nerves were on edge, every sound making her jump. She kept looking over her shoulder, half expecting Martins to appear and drag her back. Finally, a bus to Lagos arrived. Agatha boarded quickly, choosing a seat at the back where she could be out of sight. As the bus began its journey, she felt a sense of freedom she hadn't felt in years. She leaned her head against the window, watching the familiar streets of her town fade away. The journey was long and bumpy. Agatha dozed fitfully, waking often with a start. Her mind raced with thoughts of what lay ahead. She worried about finding a job, a place to stay, and starting over in a city as big and busy as Lagos. But then she remembered Margaret's promise, and her heart steadied. She wasn't alone. When the bus finally pulled into the Lagos terminal, it was early morning. The city was already bustling with activity. Agatha felt a mix of excitement and fear as she stepped off the bus. She scanned the crowd and spotted Margaret waving enthusiastically. "Sister." Margaret called out, rushing over to hug Agatha. "I'm so glad you're here." Agatha hugged her sister tightly, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you, Margaret. I was so scared." Margaret held her at arm's length and smiled. "You're safe now. Let's go home." They took a taxi to Margaret's apartment, a small but cozy place in a quiet neighborhood. Agatha felt a wave of relief as she entered the space that would be her new home. Margaret had already prepared a small room for her, with a comfortable bed and a few personal touches to make her feel welcome. Over the next few days, Agatha settled in. Margaret helped her find a job at a local market, selling fabrics. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Agatha threw herself into her work, determined to rebuild her life. One evening, As Agatha was closing up her store, she received a call from Tond. He had noticed her absence and was worried. "Agatha, where are you?" "I went by your shop, and it was closed," Tond said, his voice full of concern. Agatha hesitated. She didn't want to reveal too much. "I'm in Lagos now. I needed a fresh start." Tond was silent for a moment. "I understand. If you need anything, I'm here for you." "Thank you, Tond. I appreciate it," Agatha replied, feeling a pang of guilt for not being entirely honest with him. As days turned into weeks, Agatha found a rhythm in her new life. She worked hard, saved what she could, and started to feel a sense of independence she hadn't felt in years. Margaret's support was unwavering, and Agatha was grateful every day for her sister's kindness. One afternoon, while Agatha was walking at the market, she overheard a conversation between two women. They were discussing a new fertility clinic that had opened nearby, known for its successful treatments. Agatha's heart skipped a beat. She had almost given up hope of having children, but this seemed like a sign. She decided to visit the clinic, determined to explore every option. At the clinic, Agatha met Dr. Favor, a kind and reassuring woman. After listening to Agatha's story, Dr. Favor suggested a series of tests to understand the root of the problem. "We'll do everything we can to help you, Agatha," Dr. Favor said with a warm smile. "You're not alone in this." Agatha felt a glimmer of hope. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, but for the first time in a long while, she felt like she was moving forward. Back at Margaret's apartment, Agatha shared the news with her sister. "I went to a new fertility clinic today. The doctor seems very hopeful." Margaret hugged her. "That's wonderful news, Agatha. I believe things will get better for you." As Agatha lay in bed that night, she thought about her journey. She had left behind a life of pain and uncertainty, stepping into an unknown future. But with each passing day, she grew stronger, more determined. She knew she had a long way to go, but she also knew she had the strength to keep moving forward.